Hi, good afternoon. Welcome everyone to our webinar today. Today we are interviewing one of our leaders, one of the leaders we have selected for our round of leader interviews this month of April. And today I'm really happy to introduce our guest. She is Sasaki Chihiro, and if I may say it correctly, she's a lieutenant colonel at the Japanese Self-Defense Air Force, and she holds the title of Commander of Computer Security Evaluation Squadron. So, that being said, I will definitely like you guys to meet her, and hopefully during these 45 minutes or so, we get good glance at how she is one of a kind leader. So that being said, Chihiro, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. How are you doing today?
Hello. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I'm very good. Thank you.
Happy to hear that, and please don't thank us. I definitely need to thank you in the name of the Spark Dojo team, because we usually don't have chances like this, right? To talk with somebody like you in your position and with such a fantastic title. So, Chihiro, before we get started, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? Who is Chihiro?
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Chihiro Sasaki, the commander of Computer Security Evaluation Squadron, JASTF, Japan Air Self-Defense Force. I'm a communication officer. By the way, I'm sorry, my voice is a little bit hard to hear because of the bad hay fever this year. So, sorry. And our mission is protecting JASTF information and systems, conducting system audit, and providing necessary education for JASTF personnel. And talking about a little bit about my career related with English. And I was a liaison officer for Iraqi Humanitarian Reconstruction Support Squadron Kuwait in 2007, and worked at 3rd Air Wing, Misawa Air Base, 2008, around 2008, and a liaison officer or interpreter of Air Defense Command in Yokota Air Base around 2012, and also liaison officer in cybersecurity field of Japan Joint Staff Office in Echigaya around 2020. And also my career related to the leadership or management. I was a platoon commander in 2007, and my current position is squadron commander, as you introduced.
Right.
So I don't have much, I don't have many experience about the typical leadership position. However, as a JASTF officer, my entire career is related to kind of management, because every position I have few subordinates, few personnel.
Right.
And in personnel, I have one kid, I want one child, my daughter, 3 years old, and of course my husband.
Okay, wow.
Thank you.
That's quite a lot, and definitely an impressive resume. So there are so many things I wanted to ask you today, but the first big question is, how do you arrive here? How do you arrive to your position? Tell us a little bit about the young Chihiro, about her dreams, and how did you achieve those dreams? Is this something you dream of? Is this what you wanted to become when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, actually I'm a kind of realist.
Okay.
And when I was high school student, thinking about the career or what should we choose as our job, Japanese economy was really, really bad,
Mhm.
and it was difficult for, especially for female, to get a good job.
Right.
So I thought the civil servant is very good job for the female, I think.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I looked at police officer and staff officer, the Japan self-defense officers, and I found that the National Defense Academy,
Mhm.
that is Japan, Japan self-defense forces kind of university level education.
Mhm.
I joined in the National Defense Academy and then become a staff officer. So I didn't have, ashamedly, I didn't have such a big dream, but I'm thinking about the
Okay.
realism of the future, and then choose this career.
Right. But once you chose that career, as you said, yes, you say you are a realist, but at the same time, you have been always steadily achieving new goals and new missions. How do you keep that motivation? How do you think about yourself in your career, in your daily life? And what makes you keep going forward and getting more and more responsibility?
Mhm. Well, that is a good question. I'm trying to make a small goal for every time and trying to achieve the goal. For
Mhm.
example, when I was young, we had a English speech contest in
Mhm.
JASA, and I was assigned to join in the contest.
Right.
And everyone, that contest is not popular, but not feel nervous, made feel us not nervous.
Right.
But I tried my best to win the competition, from
Mhm.
small competition to a big competition. And as a result of the competition, I can, not fluently, but I can speak and listening
Mhm.
English better than before.
Mhm.
And every single position or every single step, I put a small goal for
Mhm.
myself and try to achieve it. And some goal is not achieved, but at least making effort is very good experience for me.
Okay, so basically you set small challenges, small milestones, and that helps you keep always improving and also keep motivating yourself. Yeah, that's fantastic. So Chihiro, you also mentioned a couple of times being a female in such an organization, which traditionally at least has been dominated by male individuals, right? What kind of challenges have you faced as a female in your career?
Okay. First, Japan Self-Defense Force, JASAF, is very gender-free organization right
Mhm.
now. But as you mentioned, most of the personnel is consisted with male.
Mhm.
So sometimes it is difficult to understand how difficult the females are in this difficult situation.
Mhm.
So before I had a kid, I didn't feel much uncomfortable or inconvenience
Mhm.
working in the military. However, after born my daughter was born, I feel gender. I felt the gender gap between female and male a
Mhm.
little, but communicate with each other,
Mhm.
and the number is small, but there are
Mhm.
many just of female officers and enlisted. So they
Right.
have very good experience. They also have very good experience, and I learned from them, from
Mhm.
her. a lot
I
and help
see.
us a lot.
Okay, thank you for talking a little bit about that. Definitely with your title and your position, you are extremely busy. But as you say, you also hold another big title, the title of being a mom, right? How can you manage both titles, both positions with such a big responsibility?
Actually, I don't manage to both of the title.
Right.
It's hard. It's very hard to manage both of the title. But my family, especially my husband, helped me a lot. So, for example, in the morning, I take my daughter to the daycare center. But in the evening, my husband picked up my daughter from the daycare center. So I cannot work from early time, but I can work at the late.
Right.
And sometimes we switch the position. So, so sometimes I can work early and my husband, work late a little.
Right.
And in my current position, I don't have any business trip or such kind of not going to abroad. However, in my last position, I have a lot of business trip to abroad. At that time, my husband cannot manage both of housework and his work all together by himself. So I asked my mothers-in-law to come into our apartment and help my husband and daughter during my business trip.
Yeah, I completely understand, right? It's always difficult to manage both situations. And you talked about your international experience, and that's something that I definitely would like to talk a little bit more in a little while. But before we get into that, I wanted to ask you something a bit more personal. Is there anything from your career that you learned through your career that you can bring home, or vice versa? Is there any kind of learning from being a mom that you can bring into your career to be more successful at your work?
I have a lot, actually. Because first thing is time management.
Okay.
And before being a mom, I can work as long as I can. However, once we have a family and kids, I need to finish my job until this time, and we cannot extend in any minute because daycare center is closed, and someone must pick up my daughter on the time, by the time. So time management is really become better than before.
See.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's great. It's a really valuable skill, definitely. So thank you for answering to that. Let's go over that international experience, as you told me before. Many business trips. I know that you have been collaborating, as you said, with the Iraqi reconstruction. I'm sorry, it's a pretty long humanitarian reconstruction assistance corps, right? So I know that you have been also collaborating with them. You have collaborated with many other officers in different forces around the world. Tell me, what have been the most valuable experiences and also the biggest challenges when working with other officers abroad?
Okay. Every country have different style of leadership, I think. And it's interesting. And For example, I have a lot of experience working with U.S. forces, especially U.S. Air Force, and compared with Japanese leadership style and U.S. leadership style, this is my understanding. Although U.S. leadership is kind of top-down style, and Japanese style is more than bottom-up style.
Okay.
So when I was working in Kuwait or third air wing Misawa and Yokora Air Base in Yokora, as the Japanese side, we are tend to push our way to the US and vice versa.
I see.
And what is difficult is coordinating with each other. So, for example, having a bilateral exercise, training, anything. In Japanese style, we make a plan first at the staff level.
Okay.
And if we agree or if we coordinated the plan and then report the commander or superior officers. But US style is a little bit different. Someone has authority to make a decision.
Right.
And he or she made a decision, then his or her staffs are working for the plan, actual plan. So every time our side, Japanese side is trying to fix the plan first, this level, and we are forcing US side, how about this plan? How about this plan? And they're confusing. Oh, this plan is not approved, so I cannot say anything about it. But we'll keep pushing. And at some moment, someone notice or leaderships or authorized person talk to each other.
Right.
And they agreed, oh, this is good plan. We definitely should have the bilateral exercise. And then the US side and Japanese side can coordinate with each other.
Right. How's the, I mean, you mentioned a little bit about the communication between, let's say, those two people in charge kind of thing, but what about at the staff level, as you said? How's communication in such a big operation, managing people from both sides, for example?
Communication about the language barrier, or
for example, the language barrier, like what kind of challenges,
okay.
especially at the staff level,
Okay.
have you experienced?
Of course, we have language barrier, but both of our personnel, JASF personnel and USAF personnel, is kind of specialist or in some area. So the same specialists, the same area of specialists can communicate to each other smoothly without the language, because they have shared something same way of understanding or way of thinking.
Right.
So communication get smoothly in the same field, in the same field position. But I have good one good example of the staff level or short staff level, but staff level example of the communication barrier. When I was in Yokora Air Base, sometimes with a very important person, VIP, is coming, and we need to make a reception plan. And as an action officer of the reception plan, I was in charge of the plan. And I think that was the Secretary of Defense, Secretary Hagel, that time. He is very, very high-ranking person
Mhm.
and very, very important person. So we had only 20 or 30 minutes, but we had rehearsal the day before he is coming,
Right.
and keep everything is well coordinated in the 20 minutes.
Mhm.
In the morning, he is coming. He's high-ranking person, so he has SP.
Okay.
And I think 10 or 20 minutes before he is arriving at the ADC headquarters, and the leader of that SP is coming first and looking everything is coordinated and looking everything is okay. And at that time, she said he said we need to change the plan. Or you
Okay.
should change the plan. And I was confused and I was totally stuck because I cannot change any single plan in
Mhm.
10 minutes because everything is coordinated, and
Right.
even we had a rehearsal for that. So what is this point? What is the point? The point is US officer has flexibility to change the plan, but in the US culture, it is impossible to coordinate everything. For example, office go group photos, quick tours in 20 minutes altogether. That
Right.
is impossible for US culture. But in Japanese culture, it is possible for us because we have a lot of rehearsals and everyone is in the position and ready.
Okay.
But I didn't have we Japanese, I didn't have any flexibility to change the plan.
Okay.
So that is a very hard time, only a short time, but hard time for
I
me.
understand. I understand.
So would you like to know what happened after that?
Yes, of course, I'm curious.
Yeah. And at the Yokohama Air Base, we U.S. Forces Japan is also in the Yokohama Air Base,
Mhm.
and in U.S. Forces Japan there is a special linguist or special advisor.
Mhm.
She speaks both of English and Japanese better, and also she could advise to her commander about the Japanese cultures or
I see.
Japanese language. And fortunately, she was there, and she explained to the SP leader
Mhm.
about the Japanese culture. Oh,
Okay.
they can do that, and especially you have the SP leader, the leader of SP. We understand you have authority to change the plan. However, ADC headquarters is not US command, and they
Mhm.
have their way, so
Right.
let them do that. And she persuaded the SP, and we can do the whole plan as we planned. And
Okay.
of course, Secretary Hegel can leave the ADC headquarters on time.
I see. Of course, I would expect that to happen somehow. I do have some experience here in Japan, but I completely understand. Mindset is a little bit different, right? And as you said, maybe even the strengths and where you put the focus on is a little bit different, depending on, well, like in this case, the country. You also mentioned before that apart from the US, you also participated and collaborated with the forces from other countries. Which ones have been the most maybe surprising for you, or the ones
Mm,
that were maybe harder to collaborate with?
the most impressive
Mhm.
country for me was Israel.
Okay.
When I was in the Japan Joint Staff Office,
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance to visit Israel first time because Israel is very strong country for the cybersecurity.
Right. Yeah.
And at that time, by the way, Israel is the mandatory system. Israel mandatory system, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone become 18 need to join the military.
Right.
Both of female and men.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many younger soldiers and female soldiers
Mm-hmm.
in the country, all
Right.
over the base. And one of the young soldier has had a presentation for us.
Okay.
And she looked really relaxed, happy, and confident with her presentation. And sometimes she is putting her opinion. That could never happen in Japan.
Okay.
It's not Japan, but in Jazz.
I see.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel, and I had one naval general. So in front of general, everyone is nervous, especially for having the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So like I say, today I'm also a little bit nervous in front of speaking in front of everyone, or
Right.
in front of through the online.
Right.
So that kind of I cannot believe
Mm-hmm.
that a young personnel can make a presentation such a good way. And I realized how I was suppressed, or like I didn't enjoy my career, or I didn't enjoy the presentation or such kind of opportunity.
Right.
So that was a really big experience for me. And
So how could they provide such a relaxed atmosphere for younger, and in this case, right, through the mandatory military service? Why could they be so relaxed in such circumstances?
I think about exactly the same thing about that, and asked them, and they said not cultural difference.
Mm-hmm.
And they are having a lot of opportunity to talk or show their opinion
Mm-hmm.
from younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the family, they are spending many time together and talking a lot about yourself or what they do today, or
Okay.
what what happened for school, something. That kind of opportunity make them feel comfortable
Okay.
to talk in front of in front of many personnel. I heard, but also I'm interested in leadership of
I think we have a small connection issue with Chihiro. Hopefully we can recover the connection soon. Let's give her a couple of minutes to reconnect. Hi, Chihiro. Can you hear me now?
Okay,
Okay.
I can hear you now. Okay.
So yeah, sorry about that. Internet sometimes
Okay.
has these things. So yeah,
That-
you were
that
telling
is-
me about
That is my turn. The communication officers, they have to
exactly.
fix the connection, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So I was impressed about the Israel leadership.
Hmm.
Israel leadership allowed them to be comfortable in
Okay.
the presentation. If that makes sense?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Kind of open communication style, right?
Right, right.
Okay. So actually, you talked about leadership in several times already, especially when talking about the difference between the US and Japan and now Israel. But what about your personal leadership style?
Okay. Talking about the leadership, my personal leadership, before talking about my personal leadership,
Hmm.
I think the traditional military leadership is different, a little bit different from not normal, but the private companies leadership style.
Okay.
Can I explain a little bit about that? Because it's important for
Right, definitely.
the leadership style. So the purpose of private companies leadership style is, or purpose of leadership is developing or improving personality and individuality. So if you have basically 2%, the ability this high and this high, the leader's purpose or leader's job is developing those people's ability, like here and there.
Okay.
And if you need to coordinate the ability to make a profit.
Okay.
And traditional type of military leadership is some part is similar, because we need to develop or improve ability, and we also need to arrange the height or measurement of the ability.
Okay.
It means if we have 2% this and that, right? Sometimes in the military way, we need to arrange improving ability and also arrange the ability in the same way. And sometimes ability is this high and that high. It is too big. The difference gap is too big.
Okay.
So sometimes we improve this high and
I see.
this
Okay.
high. So for this person, we need to not a good word, but destroy their individuality or uniqueness.
Okay.
And this is why we have to arrange the ability. Okay. When we see the many of the same thing looks strong.
I see.
So,
Okay.
okay, I have one good example here.
Right.
Can you see?
Yes, it's a pretty good example. Yes.
Yeah. They looks exactly same, and we know Stormtrooper is not so strong soldier. However, still it scared us. It scared people.
Okay.
The figure outfit, everyone the same outfit, and everyone is same moving in the movie.
Okay.
Or everyone holding a gun in the same way looks scary and strong.
Okay, it's the sense of organization, the sense of collective that creates that mindset, right?
Right. So this is typical type of military leadership, I think.
Right.
And talking about my leadership, my current career is cybersecurity, and cybersecurity personnel is very unique. Everyone has high skill and very smart, even in the younger soldiers.
Right.
And exactly not a stormtrooper type of military thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to not to lead them, but I'm trying to support or help them to achieve our goal.
Right.
So in concrete, I'm trying to not telling the detail of the way to achieve a goal or make getting the purpose, but just mention the purpose and the reason, and ask them how to make or how to achieve the purpose or goal.
I see.
That is kind of my style. So I'm not sure this is correct or right answer or not, but
right. I completely understand. So basically, you prefer to guide, but more than setting things for your subordinates, helping them to develop their own natural abilities and skills to reach those goals, right? And yeah, as you say, like I don't think anyone has an answer on what is correct or not, but you already found your own style and clearly it has been working for you. So that is fantastic. So Chihiro, we talked a lot about your job and your experience, but I also wanted to ask you a little bit about your English skills, right? At the beginning, you told me that the first time you challenged yourself was with an English speech, right? How do you keep your English skills and how do you maintain those English skills even nowadays?
Sometimes I was asking how to study or how to improve English ability. And every time I answer, not studying English, but making your own habit. Because studying something make a lot of energy, have a lot of power.
Right.
But doing habit is not so many power. Keep studying or keep the habit every day or every time. So in my career, sometimes I'm really I use or I utilize in English in the career. However, the other position, I didn't use English at all. For example, the current position didn't use English at all. So this is I'm not speaking English long time, probably a year or so.
Okay.
So today I can I cannot. The English is not coming smoothly popping up my mouth, but
yeah.
yeah. Okay, that is not a point. But in this position, for example, cybersecurity is English origin.
Right.
So there are many English materials, good materials, and almost all or most of the regulations or procedures are we import from English country.
I see.
So our procedure or our regulations are English translation Japanese.
Okay.
So thinking about this, we have a lot of opportunity to study English even in a domestic position.
Okay.
So for example, right now I'm studying some certification for the cybersecurity. My background is communication, but I'm relatively new for the cybersecurity field, so I need to study a lot.
Of course.
And in the cybersecurity field, there are many certifications from Japan, US, and other countries also. And we can choose Japanese certification, but also we can choose English or US certification. Of course, their test or their examination is translated in Japanese. However, there are many good English study materials, and Japanese study materials are limited. So why not utilize my English ability to study those certifications?
Of course.
So right now, every day, I'm trying to get the certification in reading the English material.
Right.
The English quizzes a lot from internet. And sometimes I cannot understand some words like DMZ or what is louder.
Okay.
Easy one, but in the YouTube, there are many persons who is explaining details about the meaning of the word for the certification in English. So for this term, for this year, I only study English, probably reading and sometimes listening, but it's okay. My purpose is to get the certification.
Right.
What I want to say is get the chance, get your chance.
Okay, so your method at the end of the day is habit and putting yourself out there, creating those chances to use English as much as you can, right?
Yes, exactly.
That is great.
Even for you are mentioned about the mom things, mother things.
Yeah.
When I come back home, I don't have much time to study English.
Right.
Because my daughter say, "Oh, mommy, please," you say, "Look at this, look at that. I want to see TV, something."
Of course.
And at that time, I thought, "Oh my God, I cannot study English at all." But I found that she like Shimajiro, do you know Shimajiro, the famous Japanese cartoon for the very younger kids.
I'm not familiar with those.
The tiger thing, but those animation had English version, English
okay.
type. So I just put I just put the DVD of the English version of the child cartoon.
Right.
And she is very happy about watching the cartoon. And I'm also happy to study a little bit about the English.
Yeah, I always recommend our trainees to watch cartoons with their kids in English when possible. I think it's one of the few and the best probably way to spend time with your kid doing something that they like and that can be also beneficial for you, right?
Right. And she's a little bit bigger than before, and she understands the Shimajiro thing is no more interesting for her age. And right now, she's a big fan of Pokemon.
Okay.
You know Pokemon?
Of course. Yes.
And she's always watching Pokemon. So right now, I'm thinking about how to watch English Pokemon on my TV.
I see. Well, I maybe later on I can give you some recommendations for cartoons you can also watch with with your daughter. So my last question today, Chihiro, relax one. So busy at work, busy at home. Whenever you get a little bit of free time, what do you like doing? What do you do with those scarce minutes you have for free time?
For free time?
Yes.
Right now, I won't travel. I won't travel with my family.
Okay.
Because especially in the COVID-19 situation, we cannot move freely, especially for the military person.
Right.
So we have strong strict we have
Where would you
restrictions.
like
So
to go then?
probably and go to onsen, the hot
Okay,
spring things, and relax in the bathtub
that sounds great.
with my family.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much, Chihiro. So I would like to open up the Q&A. So any
Oh, you
participant
have
can.
Q&A. Okay.
Yes,
Okay, good. Sure.
just for a few minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see if we have any good questions from the participants. I have like around 5 minutes for them to see what kind of questions they ask. So if you don't mind, let's go over those questions.
Sure.
Okay, so first of all, we have this question from Murashige-san. You mentioned that you have your own style of taking leadership. What kind of advice would you give to people who are looking for their own leadership style?
Okay. That is the old style, I think.
I guess so.
And that is a difficult question and good question. I think finding the our own leadership style is not easy. It's difficult. So try and error again, try again. And probably that is the only way to get your own style. Because I'm also trying. I'm still trying to my leadership style because sometimes it's working, but sometimes it's not good, not working.
Right.
So every time I have feedback from my subordinates or my superior officers and talking with my friends, or I have failure of this kind of leadership style. So what do you think about? So making gathering a lot of opinion and try a lot of way of leadership.
I understand. So listening to all the feedback as possible and try as much as you can, right?
Yes,
Failing, as they say, right? Failing is not trying, but trying is never a failure. Okay, thank you for answering that question. Another question we have is, you seem to have many opportunities to communicate with a lot of people who come from different cultural background. In order for you to make good and positive relationships, what kind of topics do you actually talk to initiate a conversation?
That is another good question. Maybe, of course, we talk a lot about the mission or job talking, but other than job, like families or sports or foods are main three topics for the conversation. Because every country has
family, sports, and food.
Family, they definitely have their own family. So family is kind of similar background for every country.
Right.
And in contrary, every country have unique sports, unique cuisine.
Okay.
So if you are going to another country and talk a little bit, having opportunity to make a chatting with other people, I recommend you to ask about the cuisine. So what is good or what is the recommendation of cuisine in your country, Luis, in Spain?
Many. I love food, so I think I will have to give you a recommendation depending on each specific area, right? Overall, I think empanada, I would recommend you. Empanada is something more typical from my region, from the northwest of Spain. And you should definitely try it if you have the chance.
Okay. So if we have a chance to, if you know good restaurant in Japan, please let me know.
I will. I definitely will. Yeah, we could talk about food forever.
Okay.
Let's have just the last question then. In this case, Ken is asking. Well, he's saying like it was really, really nice to meet you today as a special guest. He wants to know, like, when you have a lot of things to do, how do you manage your schedule and how do you plan? Yeah, how do you plan? And then he's asking also if his friend Mr. Furusawa is your colleague. I don't really know if you recognize Mr. Furusawa, but focusing on the question itself, how do you schedule and manage your time at work?
Okay. I'm managing my schedule. Not like a cybersecurity person, but like a paper thing.
Sometimes
Yeah.
traditional methods.
Traditional way is the best for me. And also, I have my own schedule on my computer, but in JASTAF, I cannot bring my computer to home, so I cannot see my schedule at home. So I write down only for the topic, and details is writing down in the computer.
I see.
And I'm writing down. I'm using this 4-colored pen. Oh, can you see? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And for the job, I use blue color. And for the family, green color.
Okay.
The important ink, red color. So this is my way to keep or to manage my schedule. And what is the next question, the second question?
In this case, Ken was asking about if you knew Mr. Furusawa, who's his friend.
I think I knew Mr. Furusawa. I think so. And if he is in JASTAF personnel.
Yes.
Yes, I know.
Right.
Thank you for
maybe
the question.
Ken can be relieved now. Just one small thing that you mentioned, and just to wrap things up, you talked about bringing your PC, right? I guess you definitely cannot bring your laptop home or your PC home. Is there any way you can work from home at all? You always, I mean, I guess because of the kind of information you're dealing with, you always need to keep your PCs at your office, right? Right.
Basically, I don't bring work to my home.
Okay.
But some of the work is not classification, so I can bring to my home, like today's sessions or studying the general study for the related to the current mission, like cybersecurity.
Right. Completely understand. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time, but it was amazing talking to you today, Chihiro. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me and, of course, with everyone attending the session today. Please keep in touch, and of course, if any, we can help you with anything. As for example, those recommendations with cartoons, I will definitely love to chat about that a little bit more. But yes, overall, thank you so much for taking the time today, and I wish you the best in your career, and hopefully we can get to chat soon.
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you for your assistance, Luis. And I'd like to tell my appreciation to Leo, the CEO of Banjo, and my old friend. and I really enjoyed the interview. And I also have a lot of notice and awareness through this valuable experience. So I hope this interview can be of any help for the audience also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that being said, also our audience, thank you for being there today. We really hope you enjoy. I'm sure you did. Thanks to Chihiro, and looking forward to see you around in our next webinars. Thank you so much. Bye bye.